Chapter 125 of Married Thrice to Salted Fish. Lin Qingyu slowly took a deep breath and forced himself to calm down. This all started when Shu Junyan claimed to have obtained a mystical stone from the peak of Kunlun Mountain. This stone was filled with the aura of heaven and earth. It was entirely green like an emerald. He divided the strange stone into two, making a pair of pendants, and presented it to the emperor and empress on the emperor's longevity day. Shu Junyan was a strange person, and Lin Qingyu and Jiang Xing knew to treat with caution any gifts he presented them. Following his instructions, the two placed the pendants under their pillow and went to sleep. Who would have ever thought that he would find the world turned upside down upon waking up? Lin Qingyu found himself standing in a surging crowd. It was as crowded as a Dayu's Lantern Festival. But these people were obviously not from the Dayu. Their mouths and noses were covered with cloth. Some of them were wearing thin and strange clothes, somewhat similar to what Jiang Shen had been wearing the 2 times he'd entered his dreams. Oh my gosh, did he enter during the COVID time? While some were dressed in something similar to what they wore in the Dayu, long corseted robes, it was why Lin Qingyu in his Dayu attire didn't appear so conspicuous. Oh, how could he not be conspicuous? He had just stood there for a short while and already onlookers had surrounded him. These people were looking unabashedly at him. Some held a rectangular objects while others pointed something cylindrical at him. He knew that the rectangular object must be a mobile phone and the cylinder must be the camera that Jiang Shen had told him about. They were taking pictures of him. When he returns to the Dayu, he was going to have their little poisonous snake deliver his thanks to Shu Junyan for his generous gift. Lin Qingyu appeared calm on the surface, but a trace of confusion and fear rose in his heart. His fear wasn't because he suddenly found himself in a strange place, but because Jiang Xing was not by his side. If the strange stone Shu Junyan had given them was what had caused him to come to this foreign land, then Jiang Xing should have come with him. But where was Jiang Xing? Lin Qingyu raised his head and saw a huge banner hanging on the ceiling. The characters on the banner were simplified characters that Jiang Xing had taught him. It read, Guangzhou Hanfu Carnival. Guangzhou was equivalent to Dayu's Jiaoshao and was Jiang Xing's hometown. Jiang Xing must also be in the city. He must be here. He better not dare not be here. Lin Qingyu lowered his eyes and pondered. The passerby who took pictures of him were all calling out, Hey kiddo, look this way please. Look at the camera. Thank you. Hey handsome, where did you get your hanfu? Can you send me the link to their store? Xiao Gege, can I add you on WeChat? I will send you the picture after I finish editing it. ... Lin Qingyu kept on a cold expression and said nothing. He didn't mean to turn a deaf ear, but he really didn't know how to respond. He decided to first leave this crowded place and find somewhere quiet to think about what to do next. While repeatedly saying excuse me to the onlookers, he made his way to the side. The place he was in was huge, not any smaller than Xinjing Palace. Even after walking for so long, he still hadn't reached the end. He found that as soon as he stopped, people would immediately turn to watch him. As he walked, many people took out their mobile phones to take pictures of him and call out to him, but at least he wasn't as flustered as before. Jiang Xing once said that if he ever found himself in his hometown, he could be found using a mobile phone. The most urgent task was to find someone to borrow a mobile phone from to call Jiang Xing. According to his observation, everyone in Jiang Xing's hometown has a mobile phone, so it shouldn't be difficult to borrow one. Excuse me? An excited voice came from behind him. Lin Qingyi turned around and met a pair of big doe like eyes. It was a girl around his age, with something called a work permit hanging around her neck, on which her name was written. The girl's surname is K, and her name was K Tang. K Tang said, Xiao Gege, it's best to wear a mask when you're not taking pictures. K Tang lived up to her name. Her voice was very sweet. Lin Qingyu said, a mask? Yeah, although there is no epidemic in Guangzhou at this time, we can't take it lightly. I don't have a mask. Then I will give you one. K Tang took out a mask and handed it to Lin Qingyu. Before Lin Qingyu put it on, she said quietly, Wait a minute, Xiao Gege. Can I take a photo with you? As a staff member of the Hanfu Carnival, it wasn't quite appropriate for her to be doing this. But this Xiao Gege was just so good looking that she couldn't help it. Lin Qingyu didn't respond. K Tang was a little embarrassed, but she didn't blame Lin Qingyu at all. Was it impolite for a beauty to ignore others? She simply wasn't worthy in the first place. It's okay if it's not, K Tang hurriedly said. Excuse me. Lin Qingyu smiled. I didn't say no. Please. K Tang was dazed by this unexpected turn and hurriedly took out her mobile phone. She didn't dare to stand too close to the beauty, for the fear of messing up the expensive clothes he had on him. The Xiao Gege was a head taller than her, about 1.8 meters tall, which was passable in the south. K Tang raised her phone, made a V sign on the camera, and took the picture. Because she was a little flustered, she forgot to turn on the beauty filter. Facts have proved that a true beauty could stand the test of the front camera. A casual photo was better than any that she'd refined for 500 years. Lin Qingyu asked, Are you done taking the picture? I'm done, K Tang smiled brightly. Thank you, Xiao Gege. You're welcome. Lin Qingyu put on the mask and revealed his real purpose. I also have a request. Can I borrow your mobile phone? Huh? My phone? Lin Qingyu explained. I would like to use it to find someone, but I don't have a mobile phone myself. K Tang thought that Lin Qingyu simply hadn't bought his mobile phone with him. After all, his fancy clothes didn't seem to have any pockets to store a phone. K Tang generously handed her phone. Here you go. Lin Qingyu stared at the phone but didn't take it. Jiang Xing had told him a lot about mobile phones when he was bored and had nothing to do. He knew many of its uses, but without the real thing in the Dayu, no matter how much he knew about it, he couldn't use it. Can you make this call for me? Lin Qingyu asked. Of course. K Tang was very enthusiastic. What's the phone number? Neither he nor Jiang Xing thought that they would one day actually return to Jiang Xing's hometown. That matter about making a phone call was simply said casually. Fortunately, he had an excellent memory and he memorized the string of numbers after only listening to it once. K Tang dialed out the number Lin Qingyu recited, and before it rang, she said, Xiao Gege, who are you trying to call? Lin Qingyu thought for a while and said, My husband. K Tang stared at him wide-eyed, almost dropping her phone. Huh? When Jiang Xing woke up, he found himself lying on the sofa. The air conditioner was whistling. A thin blanket was covering his body, and his mobile phone lay quietly beside him. Jiang Xing slowly sat up and looked at the time. It was already late in the afternoon. He started sleeping after lunch and he'd only slept for 5 hours in total, but felt like he'd slept for a long, long time and had a long, long dream. The side effect of his nap was that everything looked wrong. There was this feeling of vicissitudes, as if everything seemed a lifetime away. Jiang Xing sat on the sofa in a daze. There was a sound of footsteps coming down on the stairs. A girl wearing a pure white dress and light makeup appeared. It was his cousin, Pei Ji Chi, who was 1 year older than him. Seeing Jiang Xing's distraught look, Pei Ji Chi asked, "What's the matter with you?" Jiang Xing said slowly, "I feel like I have just had a very long dream. I dreamt that I died and lived again, and that I lived and died again. It was so painful. I also dreamt of a classical beauty in a wedding dress." A beauty? How beautiful! Jiang Xing tried his best to recall, but got nothing. Fuck, I can't remember. Pei Ji Chi didn't take it seriously. That's just how dreams are. You forget about them when you wake up. Jiang Xing hesitated for a while and then said, "You're right." He gave up trying to remember and lay back down on the sofa. "Stop sleeping. You have been sleeping all afternoon," Pei Ji Chi said, dumbfounded. "Are you really going to sleep away the first day of the National Day holiday?" "Actually, not just the first day. I plan to spend the next 6 days like this." Jiang Xing turned on his phone, clicked on the reading app, and continued to read the novel he hadn't finished. Pei Ji Chi caught a glimpse of a screen and said in surprise, "You're really reading Huai's Refusal of the Monarch? Weren't you the one who recommended it to me?" Pei Ji Chi smiled slyly. Yes. So, what do you think of the plot?" "It's hard to say. What's keeping me going is my desire to see how Xiaoqing dies. I wanna see Dr. Lin kill everyone." "Dr. Lin? You mean lynching you? Do you like him?" Jiang Xing said without hesitation, "I like him. But he's not a good person. He killed a lot of people for revenge." Jiang Xing raised his eyebrows. "And it just so happens that I like watching him take revenge and kill people. I declared that from today onwards, I will be Dr. Lin's loyal supporter." Pei Ji Chi had a complicated expression. "Then I advise you that you push a bit more in case the house collapses." Jiang Xing sensed something was wrong. "What do you mean? What happens to my great beauty?" "Pretend like I said nothing," Pei Ji Chi said guiltily. "Read for yourself and find out." After saying so, she took on an orange from the coffee table and headed upstairs. Half an hour later, Pei Ji Chi went downstairs holding a mobile phone in her hand. The Hanfu Carnival is on the hot search. It seems that there is a store with a super handsome model. She zoomed in on the photo, squinting her eyes to spot any flaws. "Is it really possible for someone to be this handsome?" Jiang Xing whispered. "He died." Pei Ji Chi was taken aback. She didn't immediately realize what he was talking about. "Who? Who died?" Jiang Xing chuckled. He rubbed his eyes that had been staring at the phone for a long time and said, "So boring." Pei Ji Chi saw that his screen was at the scene of Lin Qingyu committing suicide in the Eastern Palace. She suddenly realized and empathized with him. She expressed her deep sympathy. She sat down next to her younger cousin and comforted him. "Don't think about it too much. He's just a fictional character. Once you go offline, you should tell your grievances to fuck off. Come on, Laude. Get on your account. I have recently been practicing my jungler. Take me flying." Jiang Xing. ... "Ah, I forgot. You haven't turned 18 yet." You can only play for an hour at night during the holidays. How miserable. Jiang Qing silently opened the game and successfully logged in. Pei Ji was dumbfounded. How did you do that? Jiang Qing said, I used Auntie's ID card, and by Auntie, I mean your mom. The two entered the game and were engaged in a team battle with a phone when a phone call came. The caller ID was an unfamiliar number and the area was in Guangzhou. There was a high probability that it was a sales call, so Jiang Qing swiped his finger over the screen, refusing the call. Toot! Keitang blinked and told Lin Qingyu, your husband hung up the phone. Lin Qingyu frowned. What do you mean by hung up? Keitang said, it means that he didn't want to answer the call. Lin Qingyu's eyes turned cold and he said coldly, why? Must be because he saw an unfamiliar number and didn't want to answer it? I would do the same, Keitang said. How about I send him a message? Lin Qingyu nodded. All right, thank you. Keitang typed out the message, checked it with Lin Qingyu, and sent it after confirming that there was no problem. Hello, I am an enthusiastic passerby. Your wife is lost, without a mobile phone, and he's asking you to pick him up. Lin Qingyu and Keitang waited 15 minutes for Jiang Qing's reply. Question mark. Oh my gosh! Why the freaking memory loss from Jiang Qing? If Lin Qingyu can freaking remember, why can't Jiang Qing? Wait, is it connecting to the early chapters modern AU snippets? That would be good. I'm actually looking forward to this. He's so much in trouble. He's gonna get a freaking beating, probably get poisoned, threats. Oh my gosh. Jiang Qing have to be on his knees for a whole freaking day.